At the beginning of Sefer Derech Hashem, we spoke about the Metziut HaBoreh, the importance of establishing the fact that there is a creator to the world. That was one of the first chapters. The second chapter dealt with what the purpose of creation is. Once we've determined that there is a creator, why did he do so? What is this all about? And we explained briefly that a great deal of it has to do with the fact that Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to benefit us and to give us all this enjoyment, all this pleasure, to do good with us, to be kind with us. But in order to achieve the ultimate good, we have to work for it. So now comes along the third chapter and explains how we do that. How do we achieve the ultimate shlemut, the ultimate completeness? How do we acquire the ultimate sachar, the reward? And where we will receive it. So before we begin talking about that, it's important to understand that what this chapter deals with, we may discuss it and elaborate more later, but what this chapter deals with is what we call the hirach of sheep, free will. In order to understand what free will is all about, just think for a moment, what is the most precious thing a human being has in this world? According to Parashat Bereshit, man is different than the animal species, that he was created b'tzalmenu kidmutenu. Does not mean that in the image of God as it's translated. It means that he's able to perform in certain ways just like those from above. Because after all, he does have a chelek eloka mimal in his neshama. By pach ba'apav nishmat ha'im means that Hashem endowed him, gave him a soul. He's different from animals. He does not only do things by instinct the way animals do, because a part of him is godly, it's divine, it's given from above. So in some ways he resembles those from above, not Hashem himself, because Hashem has no resemblance. But so he has kochot from above. That koch comes from the neshama. How is that koch translated? How does it manifest itself in the hirach of sheep? When a human being exercises his free will, it's the neshama that is making the decision. In other words, by having free will, we are saying that the human being has a captain to the ship. The ship is the body that runs around, the hands, feet, the eyes, that does all the work. But there's a captain besides this body that will rot in the grave. There's somebody leading it on. It doesn't do things by itself. All these molecules and cells do not work by themselves. There's somebody leading them on, giving them direction. And that's the neshama. So this precious gift, the most precious item that the human being has, is not the body. It's not the beautiful body, and some people are beautiful, they look nice. It's really the neshama. So the neshama is what empowers them, gives them the koach to make decisions. And these decisions that we're going to see are very important. They're not just if it's going to have chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream. The major decisions, yeah. The neshama is from above. Yeah. It's always beautiful. It's clean when it comes down to the world. Unless it's coming back to Gilgul. So it might be a rough neshama from previous life experiences, which it still retains some of its characteristics. The body has nothing to do with the neshama. The body is a combination of what? Of the father, the mother, and the surroundings. The surroundings. The foods the parents eat, the surroundings. A child that's born in Africa will look different than the same child with the same parents born in a different continent. Yes, most people don't realize this. And when I had this discussion with my science teacher, there's no way in the world. You mean to say if I move to Japan, my kids will become Japanese? I said, maybe not right away, but give it 150, 200 years. Yeah. How did the first Japanese become Japanese? Right. The Gemara says so. The Gemara says that there is climatic influences that explains why people are blonde, blue eyes, red hair, the shape of feet and nose. You can look at certain people, and I can tell you where he was born. Just by looking at his features. I can even tell you he's a third English, a third Scottish, and a third Norwegian. Yeah. Because if you become familiar with what these people look like, you can identify these features in people. Yeah.
Rabbi Kin, in other words, is a blonde person, is married to a blonde woman, and he lives in Africa.
Right.
Over the generations, he'll become like an African.
Not he himself, but eventually the children will absorb. Just take a look at South Africans. Even if they don't intermarry at all. Just look at, take a Jew. A Jew hopefully, yeah. It's true. Yeah, I can tell I'm a Jew from Egypt. But you know what? You walk like them, you laugh like them.
My future generation, I go to look at my son, all green eyes, blonde.
Right.
But if you told me to put the bread, leave it long, it goes dark.
Right. So to a couple, an English couple who's white, right? Pale skin. Pale.
Right.
If they move to India, to southern India, or to South America, their child may have curly hair and dark skin. May or may not, depends on all sorts of factors that we don't know how Hashem works. After time for sure, but even in the beginning, it may happen. It has to do with the genes, it has to do with the climate, it has to do, as one doctor in Mexico told me, where the mother was doing even her pregnancy, because the weather might have some effect on the umbilical cord and how it shapes a certain area. And then the rest, the remaining influence of how the human being looks besides his parents and the geography, the rest depends on his mazal. Every mazal, Yotzer, creates a different look on the person.
Every month?
Every month. A person who's born between April 20th and May 20th, for example, is a shor, right? And you're able to identify certain aspects of that shor in that person, right? Or fish, right? From February to March 20th, approximately, depending on the year, to March 20th, March 19th, March 20th, right? Right? Or, the other signs, Leo. There are certain things that you can point out, and that's how you can identify the birthday of someone just by looking at his face, depending on how pure he is for that month, because the mazal, influences the facial features as well. That is why some also have a tendency to become fat, because some mazalot have that tendency. They'll become easily fat, and others are skinnier.
Even if they don't eat too much.
Even if they don't eat too much, they'll just gain weight. What?
1 month over that.
I'll tell you later. It's a different subject. I don't want to get on. Yeah. But it's not one factor. There's several factors that contribute, right? Same thing to intelligence. It's not only genes. Genes help. Certain things, of course, are inherited, but not everything is inherited, right? Certain things have to do with the mazal. Actually, the mazal is more important than anything else, more than from what parents one came. But obviously, diseases and certain things come from the family too. But not always. It can come from the mazal too. Every mazal has certain weaknesses. This man, everybody dies at the end. The question is, what do you die of? This one will have rheumatism. Now, he won't die from that, but he will suffer in this part of his body. Right? This one will suffer from this part of his body. This one is weak in the stomach. The kidneys will bother him. Every month has certain parts of the body which is weak. Yeah, that's sign effect. Anyway, that's a whole different subject.
Well, when are we going to
So anyway, so we're talking about right now the Bechira Chofshit, which comes from the Neshama. The Neshama is not affected by all of this. It comes straight from above. It's clean. It gets infected or affected because it enters the body. And now they both are traveling together. And it becomes soil, it becomes dirty if the body does certain things that are against the will of Hashem. So anyway, this Bechira Chofshit is very important because this is through the free will that man is able to acquire the ultimate shlemut. Hashem made it so that it should not be for free, as I explained last week. Nothing should be for free. A person wants to work for it. And since he's going to work for it, he's also given the ability to acquire as much as he wants, almost. In other words, there is various degrees. Not everybody gets the same amount, as I'm going to explain later on. That the Gan Eden, which everybody is going to get a chelik of, the Olam Haba, has different degrees, depending on how much you acquired and what you made of yourself in the Olam Haba. So even though we all may end up in a similar place, but the chelik, one person's chelik might be bigger, one person's chelik or share. Chelik is a share. Might be smaller. Yeah. We don't understand how it works. Yeah, but all we know is that the Olam Haba and the Gan Eden, even though they're slightly different, the Olam Haba will depend on how much a person did. So the chelik of everybody will not be the same.
There's different degrees in Olam Haba.
There's different degrees, stages. Okay. Before we go on, I'm just going to explain a little bit of what goes on with the Bechira Chofshit and how it does its work. As you know, the free will is something very powerful. A person can make tremendous amount of decisions, important decisions, and these decisions that he's able to make actually should prove to him that he has something that the animals don't have. In other words, the fact that he's able to make achlatot goraliyot, major decisions, decisive decisions, build big, large buildings, or destroy them, right? Major decisions, that should demonstrate to him that he has something called a free will. The only problem where people get a little bit confused is they think they have complete free will to do anything they want in this world. That's not true. Free will also has its limitations. You just can't do anything you want. Imagine if the Palestinians would do anything they want. Obviously they can't get away with it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu stops them. right? Now, the Israeli army might say they stopped it. That's because there's a misunderstanding over here on who is the boss, right, and how he controls everything. But obviously we see that even though you have the free will, you want to carry out something, you're limited. You just can't do everything you want. So the question is, where is there free will, and where is there no free will, and how much are the limits? That's the tricky area that is a whole different topic, because it ties into the mazal. We've explained in the past, Akol bidei shamayim, chutz mirat shamayim. But the main area of free will, is in the performance of mitzvot, or in the holding oneself back from doing averot. There's also another Gemara that says it also applies to the area of catching cold and flu. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to catch a cold. So that's not part of the mazal, that's predestined. It's part of the bechira chofshi. So there's a few items that are under our control. The majority of things that happen in one's life are under his mazal. He did not necessarily determine their outcome. The human relationships, how we deal with people, if we're nice to them or bad to them, right? How we relate to Hashem, we perform this, whether we put on tefillin every morning or not, do we make a berachana? That's up to us. And that needed to be up to us because it is through this venue, through this vehicle, that one will acquire his shlemut in olam hazeh, his completeness, what he makes of himself, and it's through this venue that he will acquire his chelek olam haba, his reward that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately promised him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to do good, not only in olam hazeh, but especially in olam haba. What's the difference between olam hazeh and olam haba? People can see one is temporary and one is perpetual. So the ultimate good, the ultimate shlemut, will be in olam haba, not in this world. And obviously, the reason it needs to be like that is because this is a temporary world. Since I'm already talking about it, I'll already say that. I'm skipping around a little bit. This is the world of hishtadlut. He calls it hishtadlut. This is the world where we make the effort, where we work for it. And there needs to be another world where it's the olam hasachar, or olam hagumul, where you get what you work for, the fruit of your labor. And as the rabbis tell us, mi shetarach be'erev Shabbat, yavo v'yochal b'Shabbat. Whoever worked on Friday, right, he's going to eat on Shabbat. He's going to have what to eat. If you don't prepare, right, the hamim, you build the fish, or whatever, you're not going to have what to eat for Shabbat.
People are lucky so prepared for it. Some people are lucky everything is prepared for it. They have it easy here.
I don't understand.
A lot of people have it very easy here on earth.
No, but that's something else. You're talking about physical. I'm talking about whoever worked on Erev Shabbat. That saying applies to mitzvot. Whoever worked Erev Shabbat, performed mitzvot, right? He will be able to reap the reward on Shabbat. That is referring to the spiritual world and to the spiritual work. Obviously, some people don't have to work that hard. They have maids and the like. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about physical labor. The saying is, it's used to mean, just like whoever works Erev Shabbat gets the work and will have what to eat. Same thing with Sachar Ba'olam Haba. You have to work for it, and this is the only place you can do it. Whoever did not, when he comes up, he sees himself naked. And and he feels terrible, and sometimes they do him a favor, they send him back, give him a second chance, a third chance. But who wants to come back?
So you'd be so embarrassed up there. Naked,
So?
Very embarrassed.
Okay, another point is that this koach, or bechira chofshit, as we said, that everybody has, every human has, because it's so powerful, it means that everybody is capable of reaching tremendous heights, spiritual heights. This is an important point because when we talk about physical heights, you may have certain limitations. People need glasses. They can't see like an eagle. We're not as strong as lions. Human being has certain limitations. Some people are faster in the 100-yard dash. Some people can jump higher. Right? We have certain limitations. Not everybody is as capable. It's the same is true with intelligence. Some people have an excellent memory. Some even have a photographic memory. There was one guy who knew the whole white pages by heart, all the phone numbers. Can you believe it? I don't know why he wasted his time, but he was able to retain all that information. Right? Right. And others get excellent grades because they're geniuses. Tremendous, brilliant minds. It is possible that there should be differences physically. Tall, short, fat, skinny. When it comes to physical matter, there may be differences and there are limitations. We can't jump 20 feet into the air. Right? We can't jump 20 feet into the air. We're limited. The human being is limited. You cannot run like an impala. Right? It's limited. However, the neshama is not as limited. That is what Rabbi Elyahu says in the very beginning of Sefer. Nishba'ani, I swear, he says, Ben ish, ben isha, ben eved, ben shifcha, ben goy, ben yehudi, hakol lefi ma'asav, ruach hakodesh orah alav. He says, I swear, whether it's a man or a woman, a slave or a free man, a Jew or a non-Jew, regardless of who he or she is, hakol lefi ma'asav, depending on his or her deed, they can all acquire ruach hakodesh. Ruach hakodesh means a certain divine inspiration that one gets from Borei Olam, which is similar to Nebuah, but it's not. Nebuah is a whole different idea, concept. A person who's an Avi has a mission. Nebuah is a little bit, it comes b'chalom alayla, usually in a dream. Yeah. And there's various levels in Nebuah. Ruach HaKodesh can be constant. You don't have to be asleep. Ruach HaKodesh in certain ways is greater than Nebuah, in certain ways, why? Because it's constant. While you're awake, you have this divine inspiration who puts it into your mind to do the right thing. It's a tremendous kesher, not only gift, a tremendous kesher, bond between the human being who has Ruach HaKodesh and Borei Olam. Borei Olam likes this person. But what does this Ruach HaKodesh really mean? Ruach HaKodesh is in a person who himself is Kodesh. A person who is clean, who has become more spiritual than animal, he is able through his ma'asim. That is how he does it. Once through one's ma'asim, one is able to become more spiritual, as we're going to see soon. This man is divided into two parts. One is spiritual and one is not. By becoming more spiritual, one is able to draw on this Ruach HaKodesh. And the more spiritual one is, we've even heard stories where people who have been dead in the grave, they haven't rotted. Yeah. They haven't rotted. Why? Because the body has become spiritual. The body has become so clean that it doesn't rot. Yeah, for sure. Even people who are not as big as what do we just say? Everybody depending according to their deed. If they're good people, they do masim. So there's various levels too. They're able to receive this divine inspiration. There used to be a great rabbi, third generation from the Baal Shem Tov, who was called the Jose Milublin. What's the Jose? Jose is like a prophet, it's called a seer, because he used to see things from a distance. So they say he had the ability to see 400 miles. But he had Ruach HaKodesh. So what is this 400 miles all about? Ruach HaKodesh you can see around the globe. So somebody explained to me, no, this 400 miles with his physical eyes, he can actually see physically for 400 miles. That was his koach. But with his Ruach HaKodesh, obviously with the spiritual vision that he had and understanding, he knew all sorts of things. He knew what's going on in people's minds. He knew what neshama this is. Right. Similar, the Ariyah, of course, was on a much higher level. And there were a lot of individuals like that who had tremendous Ruach HaKodesh who were able to see similar things. But there are levels.
Are there any people like that today?
There are different levels. There are, in every generation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts Tzadikim who are able to assist us and who are tremendous in their service, in their Avodat Hashem. And because of the tremendous Avodat Hashem, they reach great ma'alot, great heights, spiritual heights. And they're able to give blessings that HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to, and they're able to know the future, right? And they have true dreams. One of the best signs that a person is loved by Hashem likes him, sweet dreams, good dreams, calm dreams, and halamot amitim, true dreams, true things that come in the future, positive things. Because what's a true dream? The neshama going up at night and being led into the yeshiva shel mala, the upper yeshiva, which is able to hear divrei Torah, that we're able to receive an answer to a question on a Gemara that he did not know, right? It's a beautiful. Sleep can be a beautiful experience for those who are zocheh, who did not do anything bad during the day and only did good things. So their sleep is much better, and they're able to learn Torah in their sleep. They have a totally different experience. No nightmares, only good things. So that is why people go to a Rebbe, to a tzaddik, who may be on a tremendous ma'alat, and get advice, because his advice hopefully is divinely inspired. 36.
Then the word endures.
Right. Alright, so what do we see from this? So we see that this Bechira Chofshit is a very powerful tool through which a person can spiritually, not physically, but spiritually, can attain tremendous heights. And anybody from the street, take anybody, no matter what his host is, what family he comes from, regardless of his background, to use this Bechira Chofshit correctly, he can attain tremendous height and be the greatest city. That is what the Rambam says in the Gemara. Be careful with poor people's children. The poor, the simple. From their children will come Torah. The greatest Chachamim and Tzaddikim will not be from parents and grandparents who were Tzaddikim. Hashem wants it to show you that anybody can become a Tzaddik Chacham. You should not think that the Torah comes in. His father was a big rabbi. His father was a big rabbi. No, not necessarily. The greatest rabbi, the greatest Talmidei Chachamim will come from simple people. The father was a sandlar, was a shoemaker, or any other, a water carrier, a carpenter, simple people. The child, the greatest rabbi in his generation. Look around, all the great people, simple people. Of course, these people, the parents were God-fearing people, and they must have done some mitzvah or maaseh tov, a good deed, to merit to have such a child and to be down such a neshama. But Hashem makes it so that you shouldn't think, Advana did to show that no, there's no guarantee. You have to work hard to teach your children. They should be at least decent. Halebai. They should be decent. Especially today. So that's what the rabbis meant by that. From the simple people, that's where they're going. Everybody is capable of reaching, no matter what his yichud, no matter what his background. It has nothing to do with that. And even if a person has a hard head, right? There are all sorts of stories of rabbis who mentally, physically, were not handicapped, but they were limited. They did not do scholastic work very well. But they cried to Hashem. They prayed. And their mind opened up. They worked hard to reach the level of what they reached. And that is why the rabbis tell us that the one who gets the most credit is Balei Teshuvah, more than any other tzaddik, because they worked a lot harder than anybody else. When we're talking about tzaddikim gemurim, we're not talking about the greatest tzaddikim of the generation. We're talking about a tzaddik gemur, a person who does only mitzvot and no avirot. Such a tzaddik will not be at the level of a Baal Teshuvah in the world to come. Yeah, a Baal Teshuvah who on his own left everything, conquered his Yetzer Hara, right? Controlled his Tavot, and became a Baal Teshuvah in the area that he needed to correct. He gets much more credit and zechut than the tzaddik who was spoon-fed. Everything at home. He lived in Me'ah She'arim. He had no temptation. He went to the cheder, right? And he only learned Torah, and no secular studies, and no batiyach, and no newspapers, and no shtuyot. What are the chances that he will be a good man? Better than that. No guarantee, but we have free will. And all it takes is for his yetzer to be sharp. There are people who grew up from everything's from religious, but because their yetzer is distilled, they became dochlim dolim meod. They became crooks, big crooks, not necessarily armed robbers, but crooks. How to steal, cunning, right? All sorts of things. Long beards, so what? They have a yetzer hara to people. I know people have come to me and said, how could it be that this rabbi did this? You see. What are you guys, the religious people, so proud of? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you think? That man just because he has a long beard has no yetzer hara? He may even have a bigger one than you do. Yeah. That's what free will is all about. As we've been explaining right now, what are the parts of this free will? The parts of this free will are composed of yetzer tov and yetzer hara. In order for this mechanism called free will to function the way Hashem intended it to, He made it up of two parts. In other words, man was given yetzer hara and yetzer tov, two forces, one positive and one negative, one telling him do the will of Hashem, do what's right, follow your conscience, right? That's the neshama. Or the other one, be selfish, follow your physical needs, your tavot, what your body wants. That's the yetzer hara. So one is really controlling the body, one is really in control of the neshama. One belongs to above, one belongs to below. Right? These are conflicting forces, each one pulling in a different direction. When a person does a mitzvah, what's a mitzvah? He's not only listening to the will of Hashem, he's not only doing a maaseh that will bring him closer to the tachlit, his ultimate destination. The mitzvah in itself has a koach to draw him closer to Hashem. That's what the mitzvah does. It draws the person closer to Hashem. Averah has the opposite effect. It's not only a rebellion against Hashem, it has the effect of taking a person and distancing him from Borei Olam. If you look at pictures or read history books, how did they build palaces in the past? How did they make sure that no enemy, or that the enemy will have a hard time to conquer the palace? Big walls, what else? Fortress, height. A moat. What did they put in the moat? Alligators and stuff. Exactly. They made it very difficult, many obstacles to get to the king. High in the mountains. You can even see today in France, something when they still had the castles, huh? Yeah. Anyway, the same is true with Borei Olam, who's a melech, he's a king. In reality, Karov Hashem lechol korav lechol hashitru b'emet. Hashem is close to all those who call him in earnest. He's close to everybody. He can be. The problem is that this person distances himself. He sets up obstacles. He puts a moat and a wall. How? By doing averot. The averot, because they nourish from the tum'ah, because the yetzer hara, pulling it, right? They create distance, right? The tum'ah, we cannot get in contact with the tum'ah, right? We're not supposed to become tameh, because that tum'ah distances us from Borei Olam. The kedusha and the holiness and the tum'ah cannot mix. We wash our hands in the morning to remove that tum'ah. We can't touch food or touch our eyes before we wash our hands. You remove the tum'ah, otherwise you no, you need, yeah, you can touch them. But your eyes, you want to be careful of your eyes and your ears.
If you don't touch your clothes,
your internal. Right, of course, it's possible, you should. Yeah,
touch your clothes.
The first thing you do in the morning is you wash your hands. To remove that tum'ah, the tum'ah causes distance. The kedusha causes one to become close, become near. A mitzvah, or a spiritual act, a maaseh tov, has the same or similar effect, equivalent of doing something holy, or bringing one closer to Borei Olam. The tum'ah or the avirah have similar effect of distancing one by putting all these obstacles in the way. And the further a person is, the more difficult it is for him to come back and do teshuvah. He's put up so many obstacles, he doesn't see the castle anymore. When you see the castle, you say, oh, I like this cross, but there's a moat. How do I get over it? Do teshuvah. The moat dries up, there's no more moat, right? How do you go over the wall? No problem, do teshuvah, you'll get the key. You'll go in. But there's a guard there, don't worry. Do real teshuvah, the guard will let you in. So a person who does real teshuvah is able to go directly to the king. Tzaddik, therefore, a real tzaddik, who is more spiritual than he is gashmi, than he is material, is very close to Hashem. That is the difference between tzaddikim and normal people. A tzaddik is much closer. He has protection, right? He has pull, he has much more influence because he's so close. It's like he's real children. So why isn't everybody like that? So one rabbi once explained, the great rabbi explained, one of the most serious mistakes Jews make is that Shem Shochachim Shem, the name Melech. Sheyudi Shochach Shu Ben Melech. A Jew forgets that he's the son of a king, the prince. And that's the mistake. Because of that mistake, he allows himself to wallow. In other words, wallow in mud like a pig. In mud. I was going to say something, but it may not sound right. Like what? I'll tell you later when I show it.
You don't have to take it yet.
I'll tell you, but remind me. I'll tell you, because you're going to enjoy it. Okay. I know you will. Yeah. Alright, I can't say it now. I'm not proud of it. Anyway, so that's the mistake a human being, especially a Jew, makes. That he forgets that he's a Ben Melech. He forgets what his tafkid is, what Hashem wants of him. Because of that, he sinks further and further in his ways. However, he always has the free will. That is what the rabbis tell us. That even a person who has sunk to the lowest level, Hashem will still accept, no matter where you are. It may be more difficult, and Hashem may not assist you, and call out to you if you're very, very far, depending on what avirot the person did. Right? Hashem usually tries to send messages and signals. But if one does on his own teshuvah, Hashem accepts, no matter how low he was, the biggest criminal. And a lot of Israelis who were sitting in jail for all sorts of crimes, and they were drug addicts, and they were things. In jail, they were able to reflect a little bit with the assistance of rabbis, of course, who came to jail, and they came out brand new people. Their wives didn't recognize them. They lead beautiful homes now. The children are proud of their father right now. Before he was a criminal. He was abusive. They were afraid of him. The wife would have wanted to divorce him. Now this jail, imagine jail, the worst place in the world, one of the worst places to be, in jail, with all these other elements that you have to deal with. You don't have a separate private room, like in Cedar Sinai, alright? You have, yeah. So, but many of them, through the reflection, taking the time, came out even from that and became tremendous people who are sitting in Kolel, leading beautiful life, as Jewish lives. So we see from that the Bechira Chofshit is a very powerful tool. Alright, I'm going to skip around a little bit here, because there's quite a few ideas here. This body that the Neshama is in the end, it has to die. That's what Hashem, decreed, especially after Chet Adam Rishon, after the sin of Adam Rishon, the man cannot live forever. It has to die. What's the purpose of death? Well, it serves several things. First of all, the Neshama, that is ultimately going to get the reward, cannot get the reward fully while it's in the body. Comes along Tchiyat HaMetim in a period of time that we call Yemot HaMashiach, until the year 6000, Mashiach comes tomorrow, then tomorrow, through the years to come, we call Yemot HaMashiach. According to our tradition, the body and the neshama will both have hana'ah. Because the body worked hard to perform mitzvot too. It put on tefillin, it shook lulavim, it did tzedakah with his hands, it woke up early in the morning, right? It helped people, right? So the body will also receive reward only during that period of time called Yemot HaMashiach, depending when Mashiach comes, until the year 6000.
So if Mashiach comes today, so we are going to be like that.
Yeah, there's Tchiyat HaMetim. What happens in Tchiyat HaMetim? 1 second, what happens in Tchiyat HaMetim, which is one of the stages of Yemot HaMashiach? The neshamot come back into their original bodies. They are cured after they come. In other words, the person was sick, he will come back sick. He will be healed. He was blind, he will come back blind, so people should recognize. They shouldn't say it's somebody else. They'll come back exactly as they left. Right? And then Hashem will heal them. That period of time, Yemot HaMashiach, the guf and the neshama will both benefit. Because they both worked hard. Same thing.
No, people are alive. So Mashiach comes.
Also, the neshama will benefit. According to one tradition,
don't have to die and come
according to one tradition, yeah, the neshama, the guf will die temporarily for a couple hours or a day, and come back right away. So you should have to get something to do. All right, we don't know how that will work. Either way, Yemot HaMashiach, the neshama and the guf will both have hana'ah. They both worked hard, but ultimately, the real reward and the real hana'ah is reserved for the neshama. That happens after Yemot HaMashiach on Olam Haba. So the body has to decompose, the body has to disappear, of course, in order for the neshama to be able, that's one of the reasons, to be able to get its reward in a state where it can fully experience that reward in a pure state, without any interferences. That is why it is written, he removes completely that koach hashpa'ah, because it interferes. Not only is there no need for it, it would also interfere with the hana'ah that the guf or the neshama are supposed to receive. Right? The greatest hana'ah of the neshama will be a complete dvekut in Borei Olam. And for that neshama to have complete dvekut in Borei Olam, there can't be any interference. So that is why Hashem has to remove all those interferences. First the Yetzer Hara, and then the guf. So the Olam Haba is an Olam Shu Kulo Ruchani, all spiritual and no physical body. And whatsoever.
You know, otherwise, the world will come back again.
No, it's a spiritual body, but no physical body. This world is physical. The Olam Haba, which we don't know about too much, we don't know the details. All we know is the spiritual.
So the earth will have trees, right?
We don't know. We don't know how things will be like. We don't know. The Olam Haba, we don't have too much details.
Not Olam Haba.
No, we don't. Olam Haba in here. We don't know how it will look and what it will be like. All we know is it's a spiritual world. There's no need to go to the restaurant. There's no need to eat. Yemot HaMashiach, Olam Keminhago Noeg, the world will continue functioning the way it is right now, except that we won't have Sheibut Malchuyot, we won't have the burden of taxes and of the Goyim, of the Galuyot, right? We'll have the service of Hashem. So Yemot HaMashiach is in some ways very different than this world, but in many ways it's similar. We will still eat, still go to sleep.
Husband and wife.
What?
Husband and
wife. But there will be some miracles too. Trees that are now do not give fruit will give fruit. There will be blessing. There will be shefa. The fruit that we eat today do not have the original taste that Kadosh Baruch Hu made. Yeah, it is written that they will give birth in the same day, or multiple births. It will be different. It will be beracha. There will be no kelalah. There will be beracha. But the world will look the same. Will look similar, right? We don't know too much details, but we know that it will be similar, and there will be beracha.
Yeah, the people who are already dead at the time, they will be there resurrected.
Yeah, sure. At least temporarily, because those who want to serve Hashem Olam Haba will go back down. Will not continue to exist. But they get up for Yom Adin, the day of judgment.
That happened when?
At that time, at the end of Tchiyat HaMetim. Now, so the part of the mitah, part of the death, has to do with the neshama being able to exit and able to receive the sefar, but it also has to do with something else. The Maran Mikrag said as follows: before you have new construction, you have to demolish what was there before. You want to do a good job? Take down what you had before, remove the fire from zero. This world, before HaKadosh Baruch Hu rebuilds it, he's going to have to, in some ways, destroy it. He's not going to destroy it like the Mabul, like he would do, but there will be there will be chaos, there will be wars, there will be a destruction. Morality will be at its lowest level. The world will sink to the lowest level right before it comes, right? Because it's right before HaKadosh Baruch Hu is about to rebuild. So everything comes down to the bottom. Everybody goes to the Sharet Nun, the 50th level of Tum'ah, and that is why we see what we see today, right? something that did not exist 100 years ago. Even Goyim were more modest. What's going on? They barely have a few strings on their body. Right? What's going on? And that's too much for some of them. Right? So that the world is sinking to the lowest level because what we're experiencing is the destruction right before the construction. Kadosh Baruch Hu is about to rebuild the world, about to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash, about to be mitgaleh, to reveal Himself. That will bring the world to great spiritual heights. The world sinks. Not that Hashem wants it to sink, but that's what happens. The Yetzer Hara and all the Kachot HaTumah who sense that this moment is approaching, they bring it down. So in the same way this happens with the death of a human being, a person regenerates or is able to attain new heights, new levels when his body dies. That is when if a person committed the Hilul Hashem, the separation of Hashem, saying there's no kapara. What's his kapara? Mitato kapara. So only the death, the decomposition of that body, leaving behind that body that committed this tremendous avon, that is when he receives his kapara. In other words, according to another tradition, of course, he can sanctify Hashem. Maybe the Kiddush Hashem will somehow neutralize the Hilul Hashem, but still, the avon is a tremendous avon, and the mitah can bring a kapara. The death of a person is an important stage in going from Olam Hazeh to Olam Haba for the Neshama to be able to receive its true reward that it deserves, plus for it to experience it without any interferences of the body of the Yetzer, and also because in that state of where it is in Olam Haba, in Gan Eden, it's in a pure state, right? Because what I mean by pure state, you cannot reward. Rabbi says you cannot reward the Neshama with physical things. Physical things you have it once, you don't care for it, right? You're satisfied, you're sick and tired of it. So even for putting on tefillin one day in one's life, the reward is so tremendous, the reward that you cannot pay in this world. It's a different currency. The state upstairs in Gan Eden is a pure state where the Neshama can really feel and enjoy something for eternity, not in this world.
But what about the Goyim during Seder?
Yeah. Any Goy that kept the 7 Noahide laws and did it because Hashem commanded will have a share in the world with them.
All the others will just be destroyed.
Right, will be removed. You don't have a helik, right? Right, not everybody will make it initially. Alright, so now we started talking about this tremendous crop of the Bechirachot sheet, and I told you that what it's composed of, it consists of the Yetzer Hara and the Yetzer Tov, and through this mechanism, it is able to make decisions. The Chafetz Chaim asks a question. He says, what's going on? People come and pray Rosh Hashanah, they cry their hearts out, they ask us, how come we see that many times after Kippur, Motzei Kippur, they're already back to the same old routine? What happened? A few minutes ago, they looked like, they acted like tzaddikim, and now they're back to their old ways. So he gives the following mashal. There was once a businessman who needed to go on a long trip, and he approaches the Baal Agala, the coachman. He says, listen, I'm very tired, I had a long day, I'm going to go to sleep. Just make sure that the horse stays on this track and doesn't go out of the way. I like to get to my destination safely. Even though it's late night, you might fall asleep. So please don't, make sure everything is okay. Anyway, the man fell asleep, and so did eventually the coachman. He fell asleep. Along the way, the horse saw some very fresh grass on one of the corners, one of the edges of the road. It veered off the road, and as a result of veering off the road, turned over. The whole Agala turned over, and you can imagine what happened. Everybody fell and had broken bones. The man got up, the businessman, and started yelling at the postman. I warned you. I asked you. What happened? He says, I trust this horse. He knows the way by heart. It's an intelligent horse. I didn't suspect it, this will happen. He says, you fool. A horse cannot be intelligent. A horse is a horse. An animal is an animal. And when it sees food, it doesn't care about anything else. It goes after the food. How could you trust it? Same thing the Chafetz Chaim says. We have part of us is animal. That's what it is. Part of the human being is just like an animal. It needs to go to the bathroom. Just look at any other animal. They have similar needs, similar tavot, right? And when that part of the human being, that animal, sees good things that it likes, that it feels to him, it will easily veer off. Unless you don't fall asleep. Unless you don't fall asleep and you hold on to the reins from the beginning of the trip until the end of the trip, the person can easily veer off. So in order to maintain that level that we reach in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, of teshuvah amitit, of wanting to be a tzaddik, of wanting to fulfill the mitzvot, we have to hold on to the reins. And holding on to the reins is not easy. Because if a person is tired, he falls asleep. If a person has tavot, he may fall for it. So a person has to know that if he needs help, where to get the help, right? In other words, you can't just let himself slip and rely on the horse. Listen, this horse is smart. Give me an example of what I mean. A person who has a tava, a desire, he likes to see women, go out with them, to be with them, and he says, nothing will happen to me. This is a horse that's desensitized. It's seen all these things already. Like somebody told me, I've seen all these pictures, they don't bother me. I tell them, oy vavoy if they don't. That shows how low you are. Because they should bother you, because every normal human being, when he sees something like that, his yetzer, is starting to put ideas into his mind. In fact, it doesn't bother you, it means that you're totally in the tumah, so don't be proud of it. But even so, there's no guarantee. You can't say, I trust this horse, nothing will happen, everything will be okay. When a Jew goes away, veers from the Torah, does not hold the reins, falls asleep, trouble can happen. Why? Because that part of him is animal. The other part is neshama. The other part is spiritual. Part of him is animal. And because part of him is animal, he will, throughout his life until the age of 99, or whenever, he will struggle. He may have less struggle than when he is young, but he will always have struggle. The Chafetz Chaim says the only way to avoid this is not to fall asleep, to continuously, be careful and watch out and not take chances. And not rely on this horse, the smart horse. No, you don't take a chance. What? That's right. Alright. Let's maybe go over a few points over here. There's the chirach of sheep that a person has, that Kodesh Baruch Hu has given him. At some point, it finishes. That point is called death. In the meantime, a person has to do his best, his utmost, to do the right thing and not do the wrong thing. That point that we call death has another name in the Kabbalah. Siyum Tafkido. It is a point that a person has completed his job. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that now that we understand that He has given us this mechanism, or what this mechanism is for, He also put a set time, a limit. This will last for 7 years. In that 7 years, let's see what you do with yourself. How much you follow your Yetzer Tov, how much you follow your Yetzer Hara. So there has to be a limit set. And that limit is called life. For some people it's 60 years, for some people it's 50. But this also has another name. It's called Siyum Tafkido. When a person leaves this world at 40, No. It's very possible that the reason he left at 40 because he'll see Siyum Tafkido. That he did everything that he needed to do. People feel bad. Of course we all feel bad. Sorry if he has little kids and his wife is now a widow. Of course, it doesn't mean that everything is rosy and beautiful. Obviously not shock. No. Well, that could be a tikkun also. That usually it's a normal death. But he could be sick. But tragedies could already come from other people. A person who's killed by another human being. Remember, human beings have free will. So it's not necessarily because that was his time. Now, because he died before his time, that's a kapara, of course. It's a kapara, but it doesn't mean that that was the time that he needed to. When a person goes to war, he's a soldier, he's in makom sakana. He may be that he would live to 75 and collect many years of Social Security, right? And because he went to war, he died at the age of 20. He left before his time. People do go before their time for several reasons. They did a tremendous avon, and he has to come back, so he comes back. Sometimes, yes, sometimes not, depending on the circumstances of what he did. And sometimes it's a tremendous kapara, and Hashem said, you know what, you finished your kapara, you don't have to come back. Right? It's a little complex, but all we do know is that many other times, when a person leaves this world at a given time, this siyum tafkido, he finished whatever he's got to finish. For some people it's 35, for some people it's 75, for some people it's 106. That is when the siyum of the. Now it could be that in reality it was supposed to be 80. Why 106? He did so much tzedakah. Then the tzedakah or the zchut of some other mitzvah, give him arichut yamim. Kadosh Baruch Hu said, you know what, I'm going to give you a gift. Here's 20 more years. That happens too. Just like the earlier one happens, the later one happens. The extension, and what's the other one? The shortening, right? Everything is possible. Hashem is flexible. Right? But usually people die at their time. That is why people make a mistake, and it shows the lack of bitachon. What did he die of? The person was 76 years old. What happened to him? What do you mean, what happened to him? I tell these people. The Malach HaMavet came and did his job. People, but what do you mean? That's the truth. Don't start saying, well,
the doctor made a mistake.
No, the doctor made a mistake, or he had cancer, and it spread, and he didn't catch it on time. Shtuyot. That's the time, and that's the way it needed to happen. It happens in all sorts of ways. The reason it happened then, because that was the time that it needed to happen. That's all. Whether you're here or in Kuala Lumpur, that's in Malaysia, it makes no difference where in the world you are. The Malach HaMavet will get you. You can't escape from it. Right?
That's why the doctor didn't find him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because his time has come.
Anyway, so because this is the Siyum Tafkid, there was once a rabbi who went to visit a sick colleague of his in the time of the Gemara, the Tanakh. He was a Tanakh. And everybody was praying for him, and the situation was very, very bad. And the mother asked, the rabbi said, she felt very bad for his son. He's still a young man. Well, he may not be so young, but he wasn't old. So one of the rabbis gets up and makes a speech, makes a statement to the mother. Your son has not completed yet everything. And he was referring to Kibbud Avayim, because the mother was so proud that his son was so respectful of her. He honored her. He helped her. How come Hashem should take him so early in his world? He's a tremendous tzaddik. So this rabbi told her that your son, as much as he respects you, hasn't done barely anything in Kibbud Avayim. Doesn't that sound negative?
Yeah.
To tell a mother whose child is about to die, you're proud of your son, Kibbud Avayim, your son hasn't even done anything. Nothing. His Kibbud Avayim was just pashut. He hasn't done anything yet in Kibbud Avayim. He's real Madrigal. What did this rabbi really mean? How could he make such a statement? This statement was a tremendous limud zechut on this man. Limud zechut means is to speak, to say good things about it. Because had he said, yes, lady, your son is in the highest madriga of Kibbud Avayim, nobody was able to read. If that's the case, good. Siyem tafkido. The time has come for him to leave. No, he hasn't finished yet.
There's plenty to go.
There's plenty work more for him to do. In other words, Hashem, don't take it yet. Even though he's good, but he still has a lot more to grow. Because once a person, of course, Siyem tafkido, he finishes his tafkid. There's no reason for him to remain. I mean, it's not such a beautiful place that one wants to remain here. The only reason people want to remain is that they have children and grandchildren and want to be around them. But in reality, this is not a place where the neshama doesn't want to take an extra moment. The only reason the neshama gives in is because at least it's able to do more and more of its sport. That's how it's enticed to stay on and to want to live longer in the right. Because that is why you don't disconnect the machine from a person who is on his deathbed. Because every single moment that he's in pain, he's in tremendous pain. But that pain, every single second of that pain, is mechaper on his neshama. And they're having cases of near-death situations where the son and the family wanted to disconnect, and the father, who was in a coma, saw all of this happening, and he came back later. He says, why did you want to disconnect me? Why did you want to kill me before the time? Even though they meant well, they don't realize that the neshama wants every single minute. The neshama wants. The body may not know what it's talking about. The neshama wants every single minute if possible. This will, because even if it's in pain, it's a kapara. If you take this life out early, it has to pay for it upstairs. So the neshama, every moment that is here, that is suffering, is being cleansed. There's a kapara. Alright, let's just quickly go through this perek. There's only a few points, but we've covered pretty much everything on the outside. Chet Adam HaRishon, the sin of Adam HaRishon, was actually the first example of where one was able to see the koach, the power of free will. Where Adam HaRishon, as close as he was to Borei Olam, as good as he was, on the very first day of his creation, was already rebelling. How? By temptation. He was tempted by the Nachash, who's representative of the Yitzhak. That whole episode, therefore, is representative of this world, as we know it. That the Nachash will always be after us, tempting us to go against the will of Hashem. And who did this? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put this system together to balance things. Because one who wants to acquire shlemut cannot be a robot. He cannot do things automatically good. Because then he's not really acquiring any shlemut. He's already shalem. You see what I mean? Where is the shlemut that he acquires? Where is the reward that he will get out of his own efforts if he's a robot? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to make a balance. Not too easy and not too hard. Even though it is quite hard, but there is a balance. That neshama has a tremendous power. If a person allows himself to listen to what his neshama wants, and not to what his animal wants, he will make the right decisions. If anybody asks himself, what does the neshama want? What is the right thing to do? He will be able to figure it out. People are sometimes tempted to the wrong thing. Should I take revenge? After all, he took my money, and he won't even feel it. He's rich, So what if I cheat him in another $1,000? The Yetzer Hara tries to find all sorts of ways of justifying, finding excuses, do things that are against the Torah. Every act that a person does with the advice of the Yetzer Hara is a rebellion against Borei Olam, and it distances him ultimately from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every mitzvah, on the other hand, as we said before, brings him closer. This is going on continuously on a daily basis, every single day. Get closer, go far, get closer, go far. Right before a person goes to sleep, we should make, the rabbis tell us, the cheshbon hanefesh of what he did during the day. Did he go far? Did he get close? And if we came far, then you should correct it. Why? Because if you let the days go by, the person goes further and further from Hashem, it's much more difficult later to come back. And as soon as you notice something, you correct it. The rabbis tell us the time to do that is before you go to sleep. There's other reasons according to the Kabbalah why this is a good time to reflect, because you're able to destroy the tum'ah. There's a certain degree of tum'ah that's created by certain avonot. We don't have time to discuss it right now. And by saying Kriyat Shema b'chavanah, for example, saying Kriyat Shema with the right kavanah, you're able at that time also to destroy all the tum'ah, all the klipot, all the gufot that you created through certain avonot. So right before going to sleep is a very, very special moment. There's a special beracha, a mapil, that the rabbis made for that moment. To go to sleep correctly and properly. To do a cheshbon nefesh, not once a year, but every single day. Alright, maybe we'll just go to the last point, that the neshama, in the end, in the olam haba, it's when it will feel the greatest pleasure, when the guf is no longer with it, right, it's free. And as we said earlier on, at that point, the neshama will receive the pleasure or the reward according to the efforts it made in this world. In other words, the more effort or the more mitzvot that it did, the greater the pleasure or the safar will be in olam haba. At that point, the neshama, after it's made all its tikkunim, if it's completely clean, it's at its most brilliant and beautiful state. And if it, during its life, was able to be mezakech the guf, to cleanse the body, then the body also remains in the state, as I gave the example with tzaddikim. In other words, ultimately the neshama, through its ma'asim in olam hazeh, has the power not only to cleanse itself, to reach elevated heights, but it also has a tremendous koach to be mezakech the guf, the body. And once a person learns how to control his tavot and his yetzer hara, the body no longer has any more wishes. That is how the rabbis tell us one knows he has done teshuvah. How does the person know that he has done complete teshuvah? The yetzer hara no longer bothers him in the same avon, the same sin that he used to do with. He may control himself. He may cry. He may regret. Fine. That's good teshuvah. But complete teshuvah means that he has worked so hard, shezikech et gufo, right, that he has cleansed his body, he has purified his body, that he no longer feels even pulled in this area. It doesn't mean that he should let down his guard. It just means that the body has become so zach and naki, so strong and clean, overcome, that no, he doesn't even feel any more hesed. It's easy to overcome.